Hello, welcome back. So now in the previous part, we have solved our design problem up to step 5. Now we will follow the next step, which is step 6. And in this, we will try to find out what will be the value of maximum bending moment. Why? Because we are required to find out whether the thickness of slab that we have adopted in step 2, whether it is sufficient or not. So that will be only determined only when we will be able to find out what will be the maximum bending moment that can occur in our structural plan. So in the structure plan, there are basically two types of slab, and these two types of slab will generate different type of bending moment. So we will consider all those types of bending moment, and among them, we will find out the maximum bending moment. We will compare the value and then determine the maximum bending moment. So here also I have written in this step we will calculate bending moment for slab S1 and S2, and then we will compare the value of all the bending moment, and the maximum bending moment will be greater of the bending moment occurs in slab S1 and S2. So first we will see what are the different types of bending moment that will occur in our these two types of slab. So here basically there will be positive and negative moment along the shorter and longer span of the slab, and therefore total four types of bending moment will be there. Two along the shorter span and will be named as mx positive, mx negative, and two along the longer span which are named as my positive and my negative. Now how they will look like and where this will be there, that I will show you graphically on the next slide. So first of all, I will, if I cut the section of the plan, say if I cut the section of the slab like this, if I cut the section here, then you will see the bending behavior of slab S1, S2, say this is S3. So how it will bend and where bending moment will be maximum. So now again I will show you, if I cut the section of slab here, how bending will occur. So that I have shown, I will be showing you in the separate diagram. So there you can see, if this is as slab S1, S2, if I name this as S3, so this becomes S3. Okay, so along this you can see slab will bend like this, and on top it will something bend like this, and again in this middle it will be bending like sagging, and on the supports it will be hogging, or it will be opposite curvature to that, and similarly here also. So the behavior of this and this will be same, and this is a different slab. So in slab S2 you can see both the edges are continuous, and therefore they will develop negative bending moment. So you can see here the bending moment which you will be generating here, I have named this as mx negative. Similarly here also mx negative. So that is along the shorter span. So this is along the shorter span, which is 4 meter each in this case. Okay. Similarly, uh, bending moment at the mid span, at here, at this place, it is considered as mx positive. Similarly, at mid span of S2 here also it will be considered as mx positive here. So the value of bending moment will be here mx as mx positive. Similarly here also bending moment will be maximum as mx positive, and at the edges here, at these points, the bending moment is considered as mx negative and mx negative here also. Similarly, now at these edges also, although we assume that there is no moment, but actually there will be some moment, and to take care of this moment, as I have explained earlier in the detailing also, that we will alternately bend up some bars, some main bars which will be extending near the support. So those bars will actually take care of this partial moment. So therefore the joint here will be partially fixed. These joint we will assume as fixed. So these joint we will assume at fixed, and that is why we are considering full amount of bending moment occurring at these joints. But here we will assume that these are partially fixed. Okay, so that is why there will be moment, but it will be lesser than this moment. So this moment will be taken care of by providing alternate bent up bar, which will extend up to this ends. So that we will see in the reinforcement detailing again, then when we will finish designing this problem. So that is the case when we cut the section along this span. Similarly, now if we cut our section along this span, if we cut our beam, slab section along this span, sorry. If we cut our section along this span, so in that case, we will be able to see slab S1 and say I'm naming this as slab S6. So this time we will see bending behavior along this line. So along this line, as you can see, this is the longer span. So earlier in the shorter span, I have named it as MX because it is along the shorter span. So along the shorter span, I'm using this subscript as MX. Now along the longer span, when we cut the section, say I'm naming this as section YY. So if we cut section YY, then bending will look something like this. So in that case, in the middle, it will be considered as MY positive, which means bending moment along the shorter span, mid-span bending moment along the shorter span, which is MY positive. Similarly, at this edge where both the slabs are meeting, so there also there will be negative moment, because as you can see, when the load comes down, slab will bend like this, and at the edges it will something bend like this. It will bend opposite, the curvature of this bending will be opposite to this curvature. So this is sagging and this is hogging, and that is why bending moment nature is different. Here bending moment we are considering as positive, and because here the curvature is opposite, so that is why we are considering behavior of bending moment as negative. Similarly, here also bend this, the slab will bend like this, and again it may try to lift up. So there will be some moment. So there also these are considered as partially fixed, and therefore the reinforcement which we will be providing as alternate bent up, it will take care of this partial fixity, and this joint will be considered as a fixed joint, and therefore this will be having full bending moment, which will be considered as My negative. So therefore ultimately we are required to find out Mx positive, My positive for slab 1 and Mx positive, My negative, sorry, basically for slab 1, sorry, for slab 1 we will find out Mx positive and negative. Okay, so 1, 2, and similarly along the longer span of slab S1, it will be My positive and negative. So basically each slab will be having 4 bending moment, 2 positive, 2 negative along the shorter and longer span. So total we will calculate 8 bending moment, and among these 8 bending moment, the value which will be higher value will be considered as the maximum bending moment for this whole panel. So now we will see how we are going to calculate these bending moment using the table number 26. So I have made this table to show you the bending moment, positive and negative moment for slab S1. So first, considering slab S1, so bending moment along the shorter span is considered as this formula, which is mx alpha x w into lx square, and the same formula for negative bending moment also, which is mx negative. So this is mx positive, this is mx negative. Okay, and the value of alpha x in this case will be different, and alpha x in this case will be different. Now as our case will fall, In S1 case, the case is two adjacent edges discontinuous. Two adjacent edges discontinuous. So for this, we will see what will be the value of alpha x for positive moment, what will be the alpha x value for negative moment, and similarly, what will be the value of alpha y for positive moment and for negative moment alpha y. Okay, so now I will show you the table in the IS code, and there we will decide what will be the value of alpha x in these two cases and alpha y in these two cases.
So this is the Annexure D, which we will be following for uh, designing restraint slab. So in this case, you can see this is our clause that we are following, and these are the formula that we are using for calculating the value of mx and my. Although these formulas are same for simply supported, but the only difference is the value of alpha x and alpha y, and that is what we are going to calculate in here. And other clauses, you can see all these clauses are used in preparing the lecture, and in the lecture you can see all these points I have mentioned there are basically based on these IS code recommendations. So now going to the next page to calculate the value of alpha x and alpha y. So this is the table 26, which we will be using to calculate the value of alpha y and alpha x. So as we are calculating alpha y and alpha x for our slab S1, and the condition of slab S1 is that its two adjacent edges are discontinuous and two adjacent edges are continuous. So here in this case, you can see these are the cases, and if we look at case number 4, so you can see this is our case that we will be considering to calculate the value of alpha x and alpha y. So in this, two adjacent edges are discontinuous. So this is our case. So now to calculate the value of alpha x, you can see here. So this alpha x is dependent on the value of Ly by Lx. And there are various values of Ly by Lx from 1 to 2. So if the value of Ly by Lx is 1.1, then the respective value of alpha x for negative moment, which is mx negative, and for positive moment, which is mx positive. So the respective value of alpha x is 0.037 and 0.028. So that is the value for 1.1 aspect ratio. But in our case, our aspect ratio is 5/4, which is 1.25. So we have to find out our value of alpha x for 1.25. And now you can see here the value is given for 1.2 and 1.3, which means our value will lie in between these two values. So for this, if we have to find out alpha x for negative moment, which is mx negative, so for this our value will be between 0.060 and 0.065. So our value will be 0.0625. So which means minus, for negative moment, which means mx negative, alpha x value will be 0.0625. Okay. Similarly, if we want to find out alpha x for mx positive, so the value will be between 0.05 to 0.049. So our value will be average of these two values, because we are supposed to find out for a 1.25. So it will be 0.047. By chance, if our value is other than 1.25, in that case we were supposed to find out these value using the interpolation. So because here we can simply do the average and find out the value, so that is why there is no need of interpolation. That is why I am putting the values directly. Now this is the value for alpha x negative moment, and this is for alpha x positive moment. Now we have to find out value for alpha y, because we also are required to calculate my positive and my negative, which is based on alpha y value. So on the last column, you can see this is the column for the value of alpha y, and it says that this alpha y value is for all value of Ly by Lx. So now whether our value of Ly by Lx is 1 or 1.5 or 2, it will be same for all the values. So therefore For alpha y negative, our value is 0.047, and for alpha y positive, it is 0.035. So this is how we calculate the this bending moment coefficient, which is alpha x and alpha y. So now I will move to the slide to show you the values.
So now you can see here, now putting the value of alpha x, W is already known and Lx value is already known. Now putting all the values of alpha x, we can now find out the value of Mx positive, negative, and My positive, negative. Sorry, it will be My. This will be My. This will be My. And this is Mx here also. So putting all the values of alpha x, we can find out the value of mx positive, mx negative, my positive, my negative. So these four values we have found for slab S1. Similarly, we will now try to find out for slab S2. Now, slab S2 has a condition that one short edge discontinuous. The condition is that one short edge is discontinuous. Now, only 9 cases in the table is given. So therefore, now we will see whether this case will fall in those 9 cases. So this time, as you can see, uh, our slab is like this. In this case, it is continuous, it is continuous, it is continuous, and this one is discontinuous. This one is discontinuous. So one short edge is discontinuous, one short edge is continuous. So now we have to see whether this case will fall in 9 cases or how we perceive it. So now basically in this we have 9 cases. So first case is interior panel, second one short edge continuous, one long edge discontinuous, two adjacent edges discontinuous, two short edge, two long edge discontinuous, three edges discontinuous, three edges discontinuous. Again, I am making our diagram to understand our case. This one is continuous, this one continuous, this one continuous. This one is fixed. Now, I think if we read our edge condition for this slab as 3 edges continuous and 1 as discontinuous, then it will not fall in these 9 cases. So how we can read it? Now, if we read case 2, in this case you can see it is saying one short edge is continuous. So maybe our case can fall in category 2 because it's one edge, one short edge is continuous and one short edge is discontinuous. Otherwise, our case will not fall in 9 cases. So we have to see how we can read the case for our slab. So case 2 will fall for this slab S2. So in this case, the value of alpha, yes. So here in this case, the value of alpha x will be 0.08 and 0.051. So our value will be in between that. So it will be, I think, 0.0495. And for this, it will be 0.0375. I think this will be our value of alpha x for negative and positive bending moment. And for alpha y, it will be 0.037 for negative, 0.028 for positive. So now we will put these values in our slide and then we will see what is the case. So here putting all the values of alpha x, and we already know the value of W and Lx. So putting all the values, we can calculate the value of Mx positive, negative, my positive, these are y, my, this will be y. So these are the bending moment for shorter span. So now basically for S2 value, we have four values of bending moment. One is 6.05, 4.52, 7.98, 5.97. Similarly for this also, we have 7.58, 10.08, 5.65, 7.58. Now all these value of bending moment I will write in the plan and will show you how we have to modify some values of bending moment. So see, I am showing you section of this one here. So you can see we have calculated bending moment for slab S1 and for slab S2. So you can see bending moment at this edge, it will be read as my negative. So my negative is minus 7.58 and minus 7.58 because this slab and this slab is identical, and therefore at this edge the value of moment here and here will be same. But because you can see this slab and this slab is not identical, and therefore the bending moment at when we consider, I mean bending moment when we calculate bending moment for S2 at this edge is different, and bending moment for S1 at this edge is different, which is minus 10.08 for this case and minus 7.98 when we calculate for this case. So there you can see this slab and this slab both are in continuation. So this cannot be the case like this slab is experiencing more moment and this slab is experiencing less moment. So therefore generally what we do is we calculate the average value of moment in such cases. So bending moment, negative bending moment for slab S1 is minus 10.08 and for S2 it is minus 7.98. So finding their average value, we get the negative moment for this edge as 9.03. Okay, so one moment is this one. Similarly, one moment is this one. One moment for along the shorter span, it is 7.58, which is mx positive, and this one is my positive, this one is my negative, this one is uh, mx negative. So mx negative for slab S1 and S2 was different. So what I have done is I have calculated the average value of this. So generally we do this practice when we have different value of moment because of the two different edge condition for two different slab. So in that case, what we do is we find out the average bending moment for these two cases. So basically we have now bending moment 9.03, in which we have to compare 9.03, 5.65, 7.58, 7.58. Then we have minus 5.97 for slab S2, which is my positive, sorry, my negative in this case, and mx positive for slab S2, my positive for slab S2, and here also it will be same 9.03. So among all the values you can see maximum bending moment is 9.03. So that is the maximum bending moment for which we have to check whether the depth that we have provided for in the step 2, whether it is correct or not, whether it is less than the provided or more than provided. So that we will see in this. So maximum bending moment therefore will be 9.03 kilonewton meter. Well, in the previous diagram, I have used the negative condition, negative sign. Well, negative sign doesn't mean that the value is negative. It just showing that it is the negative bending moment. There is no significance of negative sign that I have provided here. It is just showing that behavior of bending will be opposite than the behavior of bending at the mid span here. Okay. So otherwise, this is all values are positive actually. So this is the bending moment mx, and for this now we will check whether the depth of slab is sufficient or not. So effective depth required for maximum bending moment, it is calculated by using the formula, this one. D required is equals to under root m by rb. So putting all the values, so here m value will be this one, 9.03 into 10 raised to power 6, because we have to get value of D required in mm. And width is 1000 because we are designing our slab as a unit strip, and value of R is design constant that we have calculated in step 1. So putting all the values, we get the value of D required as 99.61. So this is the maximum bending moment, and for this maximum bending moment, minimum depth required for our slab is only 99.61, while we have provided 166D provided, which you can see is way more than this required value, which means we have excessively provided the depth here. So that is why I have written here that which is very, very less than D provided that we have calculated in step 2. So now what we can do is we can reduce the depth that we have provided in step 2 to make our slab economical. To make our slab economical, because if we provide extra depth, then obviously extra material will be consumed and the cost of slab will be high. So therefore, to make it economical, we can reduce the depth that we have provided in step 2. So now we will modify the value, because required effective depth is only 99.61. So we will decrease the D provided. So for example, overall depth I have adopted earlier 200 mm. Okay. So now what I am doing is I am decreasing the depth 30 mm from this. And with this, if I calculate the D provided, then D provided will be 170 minus clear cover minus half of the dia of bar. So my new D provided becomes 136. So you can see this value is still higher than this. So what does it mean? It means that our slab can take maximum bending moment, and also uh, we are on the safer side. So that is why we are taking a little extra depth, because uh, if we decrease the depth too much, there are chances that it may fail in deflection checks. So that is why it is not a good practice to decrease the value and take around 99, because there are chances that our slab may fail in deflection checks. So that is why I'm decreasing this slab thickness optimally. And if by chance, if our slab is failing in case of deflection check, in that case, we have to again increase the depth. So this is how design is being done. And that is why it is called design as a iterative process. So we increase, we decrease, depending on the requirement, depending on the checks. So here it is clarified that the required depth for bending moment is 99.61. But so what we have done is we have reduced the depth that we have provided and getting the value of D provided as 136 finally. So now in all our calculation, we will be using this value 136 mm. Now you may question that we have decreased the depth, then what about the load that we have calculated based on the 200 mm depth? Now here I would say that we have two options. Either we again calculate the load, again calculate all the moments, or you can see for 200 mm, there will be a higher load. And if we calculate for 170 mm, there will be lower load that we have considered in load calculation. So this depth is actually for this depth load. So in that case, I can say that we are actually on the conservative side. So therefore, load recalculation is not necessary in this case. And that is what I have written. Recalculation of the load is not necessary, as our design will be on the conservative side. So in the next part, we will continue our solution. Thank you.